It's just another bad day, dark feelings are back, assaulting your heart with a panic attack. There ain't no shame in feeling depressed.
Hello, this is John Richardson and you're listening to the Andy's Man Club podcast.
Welcome to the Andy's Man Club podcast, Man Chat, episode 3, with the Devon boys and the big man, Andy G.
Evening.
How are you doing, all right?
Good evening, all.
We'll come on to both of you guys then. Do you want to introduce yourself? We'll start with yourself, Adam. We'll go alphabetically. Start with yourself, Adam.
Adam, a.k.a. Paul Bean, introduce yourself.
Always top man first. So I'm Adam Fletcher. I'm one of the facilitators in Newton Abbot in Devon, and I joined Andy's Man Club September 2018.
Brilliant. What about yourself, Chris?
Yeah, so obviously involved with the club for nearly 3 years now, I think. Through the prison service, and then when we opened the club in Teignmouth, back along, I think that was 2017, I think it was, and then it's obviously in Newton Abbot, and then opening the other clubs in Devon as well, which has been really, really good.
You probably had a interest from nearly the beginning, though, right, Chris? Because I remember coming down the lane to do a talk where actually Adam and Alex had flown in as well, or drove down from Scotland, and yourself were there. And that was the first time that we actually met. When that'd have been bloody hell, that'd have been nearly 4 years ago in September.
Yeah, and it was at the Samaritans conference, wasn't
it? You're down at the prison service one.
That's right. Yeah,
and you pushed and pushed and pushed to get someone's in prison service, didn't you? And then you nailed it, really, didn't you? You've just been a big advocate ever since.
I think, having run peer support, in custody, I think, see what impact it makes is phenomenal. I mean, we were one of the only places in the country to reduce our self-harm rate, let alone, actually losing anyone, which was phenomenal. But then seeing the difference it makes in the community with people who have just, almost given up, it's a hugely amazing sort of response you get when people start sort of believing actually what it can do. So I'm a huge advocate of it, and I've seen it change lives for nearly 4 years now, so it's I'm well behind it.
I love yours too relationship and how that started, because obviously we had the group over in Teignmouth, and for whatever reason, location or where the venue was, it didn't quite work out. But then Adam very kindly gave us his location, didn't he? And well, you went to the story about it, really, about how Adam got involved, because obviously I know you got involved, Chris, because you've been in it, right from offset nearly, really. Yeah. But then Adam sort of came about it a bit of a different way, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. Do you want Adam to explain, or do you want me to have a...
However you want to do it, boys, however you want to do it. Take us right to the point of, I guess, you take us to the point of using the venue, and then Adam can jump in about, why he ended up wanting to get involved.
Yeah, essentially, Teignmouth was a fabulous place. It was a great venue. It's free, and the town itself was crying out for to get involved with it. But the problem was it was a difficult place to find. People weren't going to walk there, and it was quite quickly. I think we discussed, and we looked quite a few times about trying to find a more central location to the town. And then Newton Abbot was I suppose the biggest town in this area outside of the cities, and it just seemed to be, I suppose, sensible to try and look for it there. And then, as it was, I think we tried a few times to move it into the town, but it just I don't think we had the backing really of the community to do it. And unfortunately, when we lost Matt and Kyle that same weekend, I think the community really kind of thought, well, let's try something. Let's go for something that we've heard of, but we don't really know what it is. And we've got a really. I mean, it's a really useful community tool called Spotted. I think there's a few around the country. Most of it's full of bad parking at home bargains and God knows what, but actually occasionally it's really useful. I put a post out on there saying, really horrible this has happened, but let's if we can find a venue to put this out, to run the club, more than happy to do it. We've got facilitators ready to go. Just need a venue. And Adam very kindly just said, we're closed Mondays. Let's have it. Let's go for it. And Adam's original sort of plan was to open the door, sit at the back, pick his nose, and that was going to be his involvement for it. But unfortunately, for him, I think he got bitten by the bug rather quickly. Would that be fair to say, Adam?
Yeah, 100%. So the reason why I was so happy to offer the venue that I had at the time to Chris is Chris worked for my brother also at the prison up at Channons Wood, and when we opened our restaurant, Chris come and done a lot of photography for us, free of charge. Well, in exchange for a burger. So when I saw when I saw the post go out, Chris asking for a venue, I just said, that's my way to repay Chris for his kind efforts, what he done for us. And yeah, I wanted to open the door, sit at the back, not really pick my nose, and then shut the door on the way out. But on the first meeting, we had 25 guys who attended, and there was 2 that stood out. Craig, who now runs Plymouth AMC, listened to their stories, and I had to gradually bring myself forward to the next table so I could hear it a little bit more. And all the time I was just thinking, how are these blokes going through this shit? Because I've personally, and I'd always say it to every group meeting, I've never personally suffered with a mental health issue or knowingly suffered. And I've never been to a stage where I wanted to take my own life. And I just thought, I'm in a position where I can help these guys and help them with my strength to bring them through their troubles. So on that night, I then decided myself that I was going to take the step and help as much as I could with Andy's Man Club. And over the last 2 years, I think, I try and do as much as I can. So 10K runs, sponsored runs, doing boxing. I'm doing another boxing fight soon, all to raise awareness and money and confidence. Yeah, Andy. I had to get that bit in. So yeah, I've never looked back since, and I'm very honoured and privileged to be a part of such an amazing organisation.
As are we to have you as part of it, mate. One of the sort of, a lot of people talk in fun terms in AMC about the tour. And obviously I was on the bus that went south last year, and the reaction that we got, not just in Newton, but in Devon as a whole, was staggering. It was phenomenal. I think we got down to Plymouth about 11:30 at night, didn't we, Chris? And to see the amount of people still stood out on the street waiting for us, and the responses that we got was brilliant. And obviously that's testament to the work that you guys are doing down there for us, and we thank you for that. Then the breakfast that we went for as well was. So,
thought you'd remember breakfast.
Mention breakfast. It does Adam to mention boxing. Obviously that's testament to the work that you guys have done down in that area, and obviously opening those other clubs that have been so popular down there as well. Just how's it been to see? Obviously, you've mentioned Craig there, Adam, in your little. Journey. How has it been to see some of the lads that have walked through the doors at predominantly Newton, I'm guessing, and then have gone on to be facilitators in their own right and open up their own clubs?
Yeah, I think Craig is always a gentleman, and always with his permission, that he's one of the success stories of Newton Abbot, where we actually thought, me and Chris and the other facilitators didn't think we'd see Craig again. Luckily and thankfully, we see him every week. Sometimes a bit too much. So he's one of our real success stories, where he's come from literally the bottom of nowhere to running his own AMC club in Plymouth. And there's another lad as well who, on that same night, Clarkey, again, he had helicopters, police dogs, weeks and weeks and weeks out searching for him all the time. And just before lockdown, he come in with his younger brother, and he told us a lovely story how he's now back with his wife. He's got his kids back in his life, and his wife and his kids are moving to Thailand and got a new job over there, and they're building a new life together. So again, that's another huge success story. And without Andy's Man Club, I don't think either of those guys would be here now.
Absolutely agree.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think the thing for me, noticing the reaction from the community, where people sent to us from GP surgeries, from pharmacies, from just shops, pubs, God knows where else, but even on like the Facebook groups where you know, you're getting like the spotted groups, like I mentioned earlier on. You know, people will reach out on there for help, and the standard answer is now, well, have you tried, you know, Andy's Man Club? Have you tried, you know, however many other things? But it seems to be like the default thing to try now. And the nice thing is that, you know, even things like we've got a couple of our local journalists. You know, if there's something that they want our input on, they'll ring us first. They're really, really kind about how they write about us. They really show us in a good light, and I think, you know, they've done us a huge service in, I suppose, advertising for the better, to reach out to guys that may not, you know, be on the social medias, but, you know, will still read newspapers. And we get all ages from, I think, 18 right the way up to, I think, was it 85, wasn't it, Adam? I think our oldest.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a real cross section of people that are using it from all different backgrounds, and I think actually that's why it works, because it's, you know, those life skills, those coping strategies get shared around, and it's just that network of knowing people that are there, because obviously Devon is quite a remote area. I mean, you know, up where you lads are from, I think, you know, you can bounce between one town to the next within sort of 20 minutes, whereas here it's not quite that simple. So actually having somewhere on the doorstep that people can sort of come into on a weekly basis to meet up, to have a friendly face, to, you know, have a brew with, it's a huge asset to where we are. And I think, you know, having now the 4 clubs experiences the same thing, it's you know, it has changed a lot of people's lives down here, which has been fantastic.
Obviously, you two met via AMC. You've got that link together, but then you didn't want to stop there, did you? We just, obviously, you're growing the Devon movement. You're leading that charge down there, you know, liaising with Andy and myself. But you've took a grip of Devon. But then you've also gone and set up something else, because I think we get a lot of women followers. And although AMC doesn't have anything for women, you two guys do, don't you? Which is becoming quite a bit of a national thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've been spotted again. It's got a lot to answer for. We got asked a few times when we, in the early days, really, when we was kind of getting awareness out there, and a lot of people, you know, a lot of partners saying, well, that's really good, but where's the support for women? I was like, okay. So I said to Adam, let's have a look, because, you know, after about 2 or 3 months of this, we thought, let's have a look and see what is around. And actually, outside of the clinical world, there wasn't an awful lot that was being advertised, and it was just like, well, let's see if we can put something in of a similar sort of in a similar vein. So we put a little advert out, you know, asking for volunteers to say, you know, this is what we do, but, you know, we need women to come and run these clubs, because, you know, again, it's having the sort of the same gender to run it, I think is important, because things like you know, domestic violence issues, we were quite aware that we didn't want to sort of intrude on that basis. So we set up the Women's Wellbeing Club, I think last March, I think was our first club. And we've got 8 nationally now, all the way up to Scotland, with some fantastic facilitators. I mean, one bonus of obviously having the AMC network is that a lot of the partners are very attuned to what we do, so yeah, they get it. And actually, it's the partners of the guys that are running the clubs up and down the country that are taking that interest and taking the initiative to open up the new clubs. And it's the feedback we've been getting is phenomenal. I think, you know, just having, again, that safe space to link into every Tuesday is, you know, again, is so invaluable, where there may not have been something that they're so aware of before. So it crosses that bridge between the clinical side and the street.
I think when everything's back open, I'd love to be able to use some of our platforms to be able to give it a bit of a push for you guys, because I think people are going to need support groups more than before, stuff like Andy's Man Club, Women's Wellbeing Club. And I think at times we've maybe been a bit, so that people don't think it's ours, you know, it's Andy's Man Clubs and we don't want to take any credit. We've maybe separated ourselves a bit, but there's nothing wrong with, you know, cross promotion. You two guys who run AMCs and are leading a charge, and I think what the Women's Wellbeing Club does, it's authentic, it's real, it's raw, it's just like what AMC is. And I think at times we've probably not been able to, maybe been a bit blind, short-sighted of it, or maybe just not had the time or the capacity. But I think one big thing for me is really helping you guys, you know, and creating all these women who ask us through our channels, do you have hope for women? No, but Women's Wellbeing Club do, who's our sister organisation, that type of thing. So it's not directly governed or anything like that, you know, it's still separate in that sense, but just to help you guys really, because I think what you're doing, Devon's fantastic for Andy's Man Club. and I think we sort of owe it to use.
I think what you hit the nail about the peer support stuff. I think we've noticed a huge increase in things like police helicopter being up the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of guys, some really desperate times, and people reaching out on the club sites, which has been great. We've linked in with those, and I think in the next sort of few months, I think we're going to need to box a bit clever and to try and advertise, just to get those people the support they need. But I mean, Adam's been probably way more involved with the women's club than I have. I think he's like a dog with a bone. Fantastic.
I don't give up. I get what I want with AMC as well. If there's something that needs to be done, then I'm going to do it, and I ain't going to give up until they agree to do it the way that we want it to be done.
Yeah.
And the same
Does that include getting Luke in a boxing ring?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Does that include getting Luke in a boxing ring?
And you. I'll come up to Halifax, mate. Don't bother me.
There's no point. I'll be in Devon.
Yeah.
I've actually got someone who wants to set up a women's club up here in Halifax. A woman who an auntie of mine actually. So I'll get your details while I'm remembering and get that up, because I think Halifax would be great. There's a lot of people who's done the old talking game up here about setting some up. And I've got a good location for you as well. I'm happy to donate our coffee shop. I've always looked to keep it separate to AMC, but I think for you guys it'd be great to get that sort of link up here as well. So
that would be perfect.
And the reason I'm talking about it on this Andy's Man Club podcast is I think that there's a lot of women who watch these, a lot of women who support, and I think, as you've said, there's the whole ladies club, which is run by the ladies of the Andy's Man Club group, and I think the ladies often go unnoticed. I think they're a big part of getting those guys to the groups and supporting the guys, sharing stuff. And I think giving a bit back to them, and I think there'll be a lot of people watching this who'll be like, that's me, I need that. So if anyone wants to set up a female club, what do they go about? Just emailing yourself, Adam?
Yeah, of course. So we've got our own website, womenswellbeingclub.co.uk, and we've got Facebook pages for each location, similar to Andy's Man Club, and then we've got a national Facebook page. We also have an online group nationally, which is a closed group where any woman over the age of 18 can join. So as much as we're not everywhere in the UK at the moment, people can still connect with other women and chat about what they need to chat to in a confidential way, because it's a closed group. So there's that they can do at the moment until we are over in other towns and cities around the UK. But if anyone wants to open a group, if you just send us an email to info@womenswellbeingclub.co.uk and we will get back in touch with you.
Love it. I think it just gives it that different dimension. And we've spoke about the Andy's Man Club journey for you guys. We've spoke about Women's Wellbeing journey. And I think before Andy G texts on an Andy's Man Club session, I think it'd be good. Chris, you've just been on a journey yourself, which I'm in awe of, because I love shit like that. So just give us a bit of a background of what you've been doing.
Well, essentially, me and a friend of mine from work decided, a bit of a moment of madness, to take a couple of bikes down to Morocco, a couple of motorbikes, that is, not pedal power, because I ain't that brave. And we decided, we were going to book it off early March, not too hot, off season, so you can get the place to yourself basically. So 28th of Feb, got the ferry out of Portsmouth down to Santander, hacked it through Spain, and then over into the sandpit for a couple of weeks, which was great. And then obviously with this Corona thing that was kicking off, I mean, we were lucky to get out in time, because I think my bike it sprung an oil leak, which is one of those things. But it turned out to be a bit of a fate, because if it hadn't have done that, we'd have stuck to our original plan and we'd have still been stuck in Morocco by now. But it was a phenomenal place. I mean, we went all the way down to the Sahara, messed around in the sand dunes for a couple of days. A bit of wild camping here and there, but just incredibly friendly place. I mean, just we got into trouble a couple of times. We just with bikes where it was just needed a bit of help. And I think actually, it just goes to show you can get around the place, you know, with a bit of a smile and being a little bit cheeky, and you know, everyone wants to help. But it's I think one of the things I've learned, especially from doing the club stuff, with doing travelling like that, is that you have to allow yourself to be a little bit vulnerable, just to sort of say, well, you know, you can't do anything about it, so what are you going to do about it? So and let the people who are offering you help to help you. And I think that's a huge sort of thing that I've learned from the club, that, you know, just to go, well, throw caution to the wind and see what happens, because, you know, you can't make it any worse. So, but, you know, just a phenomenally friendly people, which was great. But yeah, I think 3,500 miles in 2 weeks, straight back into work on the Tuesday morning, which was a little bit emotional. But yeah, it was fantastic. But yeah, the scenery, the people, I would highly recommend it. I mean, once this lockdown's done, definitely obviously you've got a motorhome. I've saw quite a few over there. They're a fantastic place to go. Safe as houses as well. So yeah.
I just asked one question about your trip, Chris. Was the souvenir shop shut? Because I'm still waiting for mine.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a daft thing. Every time someone goes somewhere, Adam asks for a stick of rock. But unfortunately,
I'll never get one.
It doesn't exist out of a painting, really, does it now? So it's yeah. Until someone bimbles down to Brighton, I think you're a bit out of luck, mate.
I love that. Chris, is it in Morocco, in that Sahara there, where they do the Marathon des Sables?
I think part of it, yeah. I mean, mate Pete, who I went with, he did the Transatlas Marathon, which is something like 7 marathons in 7 days or something bizarre. But it's a tougher one than Marathon des Sables. That's from what he tells me. Wow. But yeah, it's a gnarly environment.
It's tougher than the toughest foot race on earth.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, but it's like being on the surface of Mars. It's really disorientating, because, you know, you can be in the middle of like sort of a desert plain, look all the way around you, and there's no features. It's just literally flat as a strap, and that's that. It's really quite confusing, but yeah, phenomenal place. But yeah, get yourself over there; it'd be fantastic. Yeah.
AG.
Right. Well, have you been watching any of the other podcasts that we've done this far, gents?
Yeah.
We have.
Good. That's what I like to hear. You'll be familiar then with something that we do in the podcast, which is to basically run through an AMC, sort of break those barriers down, really, for some of the people that have maybe never been and wanted to come, and, you know, just to show how we work, really. So we're going to start with, as we always do, how's your week been? My week this week has been really positive. You know, trying to obviously deal with all the circumstances that's going on, and, you know, not leaving the house, and trying to find slots to get shopping delivered and all those sort of things. But on the whole, really positive. I've been part of the newbies group that we started to run as well for the guys on the platform as well. So if guys have never been to an AMC session before, they can get in touch with us at info@andysmanclub.co.uk, and we'll try and facilitate something to get guys involved that are obviously struggling with circumstances now, and, you know, getting through the door of a club hopefully when that opens. So yeah, I actually managed to get off my backside yesterday and go out for I'll call it a walk. I didn't really do much running, but I managed to go and cover 5k on foot, which is you know, a little bit out of my comfort zone, as you're probably aware. But yeah, it was enjoyable, actually. I felt sort of strangely proud of myself. I got down to the bottom of my road down here and thought, oh, do you know what? I'll just do one more little half loop, and managed to top 5k. So, you know, push myself that little extra bit as well. So that was really good. Luke, how's your week been?
Brilliant. It's just a bit like Groundhog Day at the minute, isn't it? Every day feels the same. You know, often you can forget what day it is, but I'm lapping it up, really. This whole lockdown. I think personally I needed it. I had a lot going on, and it's just been good to get grounded, get time with family. I've come up with another little idea, because I love projects and I love little ideas, to start something called Dadler. Basically, just I see out there a lot of stuff around mums and kids. There's very little around like dads and kids. And I've got a couple of mates at the minute who are about to have babies, and I think there's not much info out there. And just thought something a bit fun, just to spend a bit more time with daughter. So I've really enjoyed spending time with all my kids, but my little toddler It's just been epic. Up at 6 every day with her, and pretty much in garden at 8, and I'm just really enjoying that time with her, and just in general, just enjoying learning. You learn a lot about yourself, don't you? I think a lot of time in life we distract yourself. You know, very rare now are any of us ever bored. So I think it's good to have time, and in them quiet periods, I think you learn about yourself. You let your thoughts come to the forefront, and you've got to deal with them. And I think that's a big thing about what AMC is meant to be about. You know, dealing with the shit that's going on. And I think I've certainly been doing that lately, which has been great.
Cool. Yeah. Adam, what about yourself? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. The first few weeks that I've had, so I'll say the first few weeks. As a lot of people know, I owned a business for 3 years as a restaurant, so I didn't really get a lot of time off. I worked 51 weeks a year, didn't have any days off really. So for the first 3 weeks of this lockdown, I've been using it as a positive to have family time that I've missed out on for years. So similar to what Luke's going through. Now it's getting into the 4th week. It's now you're starting to lose the ideas of what you can do at home and things like that. You've done everything. You've watched all the films. You've baked hundreds of cakes, and where I live, it's hard to find new routes to go out on walks and things like that. So my boys are now starting to get a little bit finical about where we go for a walk. So it's now starting to play on what can I do, how can I keep my boys entertained. And obviously my wife, bless her, she's still working in a school as well, so yeah, there's that little bit of stress as well, that one of the children where she worked got the COVID-19, so her school got shut down and had to be deep cleaned for 5 days, so she's now working in another school, and so there's that as well. So apart from that, the week's been good. It's just now you got to think about what to do next.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Cheers, buddy. Chris?
Yeah, it's been a good week. I've sort of set a nice sort of routine to sort of stick to, and I find that helps an awful lot with, I wouldn't say boredom, because I don't sort of get too bored, because I always find stuff to do, but I find you can get to the end of the day and done lots of little things and achieved not very much. So I've made a real point of, you know, making a goal for the day. So I might be sort of getting out for a run, and I've been out, I think, pretty much every day, if not every other day, and just smashing the miles out, which is great. And obviously we've got the running group thing, which is nice to sort of bit of friendly competition on. But yeah, with the weather has been like it has. I mean, I know that, you know, if I'm just praying they don't sort of do any sort of more lockdowns on restrictions on exercise, because to be honest, I haven't run so much in years, and I think last year I topped 50 miles, which is quite good. But last week, sorry, not last year. Yeah, it's been really good. And then I just saw the sort of silly little jobs that, you know, repaired the bike where I broke that in Morocco, and repaired the car, and just bits and bobs that you just think, I'll do that tomorrow, And I just thought, no, get on and do it today. And obviously, you know, just been catching up, bit of admin for work. So yeah, it's been a really nice reset to do that. And my wife, she's a midwife, so she's out sort of doing normal shifts all the time anyway. So she's out predominantly all day. So it's just me and the silly cat most of the day, all day. So it's nice to have sort of little things to do. So yeah, it's been a good week, all in.
Brilliant. Having met that silly cat, I can sympathise with you, mate.
No.
We'll move on then, obviously, to what's been one positive from your week. Positive from my week has been just how well my little lad has reacted to everything changing. You know, myself and my missus were talking the other day that everything he's known, really, you know, his routine and absolutely everything, you know, going to school, has all been taken away from him in the blinking of an eye, and he's been phenomenal. You know, we've had absolutely no issues with him behaviour-wise. He, you know, if we ask him to sit down and do some schoolwork, he sits down and does it. Myself and my wife are still able to work from home. You know, my wife's dipping into where she works. She only works at the bottom of our road, really, so I'd be able to take her in occasionally. But we're able to work at home, and he's adaptable and adjustable, and you know, it's been a real positive to see him, you know, react, I suppose, to everything being taken away from him. But you know, it's a real positive for me that he's, you know, been able to do that and allow us to do what we need to do as well, which has been great. What about yourself, Luke?
Real simple ones this week. Real simple. One would be this: when the sun shines. every time, we ain't had as many this week, but today were beautiful, wasn't it? And I just think when you see that sunshine, it just gives you that bit of hope, doesn't it? That brighter times are coming, and it's just nice to get that feel on your skin, especially when everyone was involved in the It's Okay to Run, which has just been fantastic to see a group of different people, men, women, coming together of all different. You see some guy up top nearly 200 kilometres already, and you think fair play. But then the ones that are inspiring me are the ones where it's like someone putting, I've not ever ran before, and I managed to do 2K a day, which to some reason it might not seem a lot, but to me it's life changing, and I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant. So It's Okay to Run's been fantastic to be part of, and cleaning my camper van, it needed cleaning, and I went out the other day and cleaned it up, and it's just been, I was sat in it over there and I had a brew, and it sounds ridiculous this, but like I had baby in front just doing some drawing, little girl up on top bunk, and I was just sat there making a brew and a hot chocolate for her, and I just started dreaming while I was sat there about what's to come when them doors are open and we can set off and take a travel. So, and that would have sat on drive. So if I can have that much fun just sat on driving it, I think when I get to maybe somewhere like Devon, like these wonderful guys live, I think we'll be able to have a good time. So that's my positives from this week.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Adam?
I'm going to pick Chris's positives, so I know what he's going to be saying. Mine is definitely going to be we had two guys that went missing over the weekend, and helicopters and search crews, Devon Cornwall Police, out searching for him for hours. And we saw the news that both of them had been found safe and well. So that's my positive, just knowing that no matter how shit other people are feeling, there's hundreds of people out there that care that you're safe and well. And to show those two gentlemen there, then that myself and Chris reached out to them straight away, and they're engaging with us, and they're looking for the positives of when lockdown's over to come and join in with the meeting. So yeah, that's my positive.
Fantastic. And you mentioned to me before as well, I think that some of those guys as well are getting involved with it in the meantime, aren't they? They're going to try and get involved with that Uber group that we mentioned earlier. So that's another positive. So cheers for that, Adam. Chris?
Right. Yeah, just on the back of what Adam said, I think, just our massive thanks to Devon and Cornwall Police, because they put in a massive effort to make sure those guys are safe. And I just want to, obviously, on the record, thank them, because they are really, really, doing over and beyond what anyone can do to make sure these guys are safe. My positive for the week, I think, to be honest, just being able to get out every day is just to run, just to get out of the house, because working from home, I think everyone agrees it can get a little bit sort of cabin feverish. So to make that sort of hour or thereabouts run is a huge thing for me. So it's been good, and I'm going to see if we can break my mileage this week, which would be good.
Fantastic. Good luck with it, Paul. Move on to question 3 then. Is there anything you need to get off your chest? I'm in a fortunate position at this moment in time. I've not really got anything to share off my chest, so I'll pass that one on to Mr. Ambler.
Again, very, very, very little. There was something that just cropped into my mind then, and it's gone, so it can't have been that big to get off my chest. So I think I'll also... just two things. Obviously, I've got family members still in hospital. That's hoping that he pulls through. And great news about, Scotty, one of our Scotland facilitators, who by all sounds of it is doing a lot better. There was one thing that, as much as I'm enjoying, I think Adam really sparked the thought, and it's something I'm thinking about today. As much as I'm enjoying this time off with kids, at my route, I feel like I am like a hunter. I like to go out and hunt and put bread on the table for kids, and that, be a provider. As much as I want to be a protector and spend time, still want to be a provider. And I think it is into that week 4 now, and has got a slightly different feel about that. Just wanting to get out and just better, just do something and bring some bread home. But for now, that's not going to happen. And that's why I'm just focusing on the positive visit, I guess.
Nice one. Cheers, Luke. Adam?
Anything to go? Rejection. For months and months now, I've been trying to get this gentleman that we all know by the name of Andy G get into a boxing fight with me, but he keeps on rejecting it. So it's just rejection for me.
Yeah, I knew this moment would come on this tonight.
You're welcome.
We're going to put it to bed once and for all.
What a firm will.
Andy, are you going to do it?
I'm going to have to bow to peer pressure, I think, somewhere along the line, and just sort of say, yeah, do you know what? What am I doing?
I'll pay for your training, Andy. Personally.
Go on then, Adam.
Yes. Yeah. And then I'll knock winner out.
I'll see you around.
I'll take a dive in first round.
I can't wait. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What have I done?
Chris's turn now, Andy. Come on,
Chris. Can we come back on to me? Because I've got something else to get off my chest now.
Don't edit that out of video.
That's 6 stone.
Don't edit that out of podcast.
Chris.
Yeah, for me, I've got one that has been picking at me. I think it's just obviously, been out running and doing bits and bobs, even walking through the town. I think what I've noticed is that sometimes people can obviously like purposefully ignore you, and I think I just sometimes want to just go, you've lost a bit of your liberty, you haven't lost your humanity. Just acknowledge people exist, because there's a lot of guys around the place that are feeling pretty lonely already, and what really ain't going to help them is if walking past somebody and they'll just go, it's like you look at them as if they've got the pox and ignore them, or just look straight through them and not even acknowledge them or say hello. I just find that a really, really strange thing. So much so I've taken to shouting at people now. So it's I'm going to get one of those sort of high-vis vests and start shouting at traffic soon, I think. But it's yeah, yeah. But it's just basic sort of, I don't know, common sense for me. It's like if someone's walking past someone, acknowledge them. See if they're all right. I mean, as it goes, I'll probably make a menace of myself running up and down the bloody pathways and highways and byways, just saying hello to people, just like, who's this lunatic? But it's I think so. If someone doesn't do it, then no one's going to do it. And I think it's just set that tone a bit for me.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, Chris. Right, we'll move on to question 4 that we had last night then. And last night's was, what's one new habit that has improved your life and why? The answer that I came with last night was that, it sounds like I'm very sort of on topic here, but it's going to be talking. It's going to be the fact that, obviously I started with Andy's Man Club when Oldham started, and it's coming up to 3 years ago now. It'll be 3 years next month. And before that, I was this sort of stereotypical northern boy that would chin up, chest out, push my feelings as far away from me as I possibly could. And, don't really acknowledge the fact that they're there. When I remember walking out the door of my very first ever AMC, and I think you were there, Luke, so you'll sort of vouch for it. The feeling that I got was phenomenal. I felt like I could walk on air. And it was absolutely staggering. So, yeah, it's going to be that for me. Pass on to yourself there, Luke.
How did that door move on its own? Hey!
Boxing poltergeist.
He's been prodding me in the back all the way through me talking as well.
So we were like that, that politician one where he's
brilliant.
talking, right? Comes in and grabs kid.
Yeah.
Next week, get a custard pie.
Love that. Love that.
Like I said, all the way through me talking, he was just like that in my back.
That is brilliant. New habit. Do you know what? A really weird one, and obviously I've been running again and all that stuff. It's been really good. But one that I've just started today is intermittent fasting, and it's just completely off topic. But do you know what? I've never done it before. I've always put it off. I've always said I'm a breakfast man. But I did it. I ran today, and it ended up being my fastest run I've done. After I've been fasted, I've eaten far less than I've ever eaten, but yeah, I've got more energy today. And I'm someone who, a lot of people won't know this, I have irritable bowel syndrome, and it really affects my life, especially when I played rugby. It were horrendous. I have to stop most runs, indoor, outdoors sometimes, because my guts are absolutely bad. My missus hates me talking about it publicly at all. She's like, no, you can't talk about your toilet habits. But I try to be as open as I can about it, because I know there's other people who will struggle, and it is debilitating at times. It is a bit embarrassing when, like, you diet, you literally need toilet. But for some reason, this intermittent fasting just completely just sorted me out today. It's been very, very good. I've got so much energy, it's untrue. I've drank far less coffee. Yeah, just a weird one. I've hardly eaten any carbs. I've done it really clean. I just feel absolutely buzzing. I can't wait to get out and train. It's the first day I've managed to do a double session as well, training. So it must be doing something right for me at a minute. So, and I'm one day in. So we'll see though how I am this time tomorrow, because then I'll do a proper 18-hour fast. So we'll see. So yeah, I'm just giving that a go. It's good for the mind as well, just for that discipline.
Brilliant. Cheers, Paul. Adam?
I don't really have many habits and not new habits. So I think my new habit for the last 2 years has been talking and shouting about Andy's Man Club. I don't think if anyone knows me personally down here who's watching this, if you're friends with me on my Facebook, I think you'll see something literally every day, if not every few hours, sharing Andy's Man Club, saying talk to me or say something. So that's my habit. Probably an annoying habit to a lot of people who are friends with me on Facebook, but hey, I don't care.
Adam.
Yes, mate.
I've got a new habit for you. Just put your head back. Right back your head.
Don't go back that far, mate.
Touch your chin down to your chest. And just do that 10 times every day, just to get your chin ready for when Big Andy G comes down to fight you. Yeah, that makes you up, big man.
You should see some of the guys I spar with.
I don't think I want to.
Love it.
2 ex-pros as well.
Oh.
But actually, one's still current pro. One's an ex-WBC champion, middleweight. One of my sparring partners and trainer. Andy G, you're in trouble, boy.
You ain't got the ball at the minute, Chris. What's one habit that's why?
I think for me, one thing I've done, especially the last couple of weeks since being is that if I've got a spare hour, I'm just messaging people, just checking in, because I think actually it's something it costs you no time at all. It doesn't cost you any money to do it, but it can go an awfully long way, and it's amazing the response you get back. I think sometimes, especially from people you've not heard from for a while. So I think it's just it's been funny the last couple of weeks. I found myself like, oh, what should I do now? And I thought, well, let's just annoy people with text and see what comes back in. And it's been quite a good thing to do. But I think it's something that we've been impressing on our lads, just to, way before this lockdown thing goes, is just that, if you've got a little bit of time, just check in, because it goes an awfully long way. So, yeah, well.
Brilliant. Our quick fire number 5 this week then is, what's something positive you can do for someone else this week? Somebody else has just popped his head around that door there. Like I said a little bit earlier on, how phenomenal he's been this last couple of weeks, helping me and the missus be able to work from home and do what we do. So I've been making sure that I've put some of his routine back in place. And, when we get up after breakfast, me and him sit and do some of his schoolwork before I disappear off to get some AMC stuff done, and, spending a little bit of time with him doing some of the stuff that he wants to do as well. Spending some proper quality time with him, because, like I say, he's been a massive help to myself and the last couple of days. So, it's time to give a little bit of something back to him. So that's mine for this week. Luke?
Mine would be just continuing to help the missus out. A big thing for me is that I've been shit around house for a number of years, in and out of house, busy, and not really took much pride in helping out. But this last few weeks been really on it and been enjoying it, just helping out and seeing the reaction of hers, with your partners, any relationship you're in, you get out what you put in, don't you? So just looking forward to just continuing to help out.
Brilliant. Adam?
Continuing helping out a food bank. So there's a food bank, the gym that I train at, Torquay's Elite Community Gym. They're running a food bank at the moment for people that are in a bit of need for some food and some supplies. So where I live in King's Stainton, just by Newton Abbot, a lot of my friends are dropping off bags to my doorstep, and then once a week on a Saturday I drive over to Torquay and drop it off. So that's my positive, not for one other person, hopefully for a lot of other people. So yeah, I'll continue doing that.
Fantastic, mate. Well done to you on that one. Chris?
I've listed myself on the Good Samaritan app thing for NHS volunteers. So hopefully get some calls in this week to do some bits and bobs. Yeah, just be nice to kind of just see what we can do locally to make sure people aren't going sort of stir crazy and getting what they need in. So yeah, it should be good.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, pal. Like I say, that was another successful AMC session. I think they've been quite well received in the podcast so far. I've had quite a bit of feedback that guys are finding it really sort of encouraging to see how they work and things like that. So cheers for that, gents.
We have a final question that we always ask, though, don't we? About what's made you laugh lately.
Oh, we do, yeah. Forgot about that. The last thing that made you laugh out loud. I've been put on the spot now. I'll come back to me in a minute or two. Luke, last thing that made you laugh out loud.
Two. One was a bit. It were a bit of a laugh. I was running today, and when I came down this hill, I tripped over as two cars were coming up road. It was really quiet. The next minute, two cars were coming up road, and I tripped and I fell into a wall. Just managed to catch myself. And for some reason, I just found it funny after. And the other one, this isn't even like a lie, is when I've been on this podcast now, because it wasn't Andy G talking at first, but then he popped up and I saw his little porno tash, and literally, for some reason, I genuinely laughed, and none of you saw it. If Andy's recorded it, where it's all, and I nearly said to it, and I was giggling at myself, thinking, "Is that a shadow, or is he left a bit of his tea there, or is that actually a Pablo Escobar tash?" And then I looked closer, and he has left a little bit of his tea on his top lip, and it literally, I don't know why, it did make me chuckle.
I'm copying it today, aren't I? Never mind. Last thing that made you laugh.
Just what Luke said about your tash. That no, the last thing that made me laugh really was probably the I can't remember what it's called now. The talent night that AMC done on the video calls. That was phenomenal. That was really funny. So that was the last thing that made me really laugh.
Yeah, it was a good night, wasn't it? And none of us were laughing at Craig's jokes, though, were we?
None of us.
They were dire. They were dire. He needs to have a rethink. New website.
Yeah, it was a good night, was that? Obviously, we've got another night planned later this week as well. We're going to have another quiz night. So, looking forward to it. Chris?
For me, we've got our, obviously, Devon Facilitators chat group thing. And one of our lads, Paul, decided that he was going to have some sort of mohawk thing done. And it just honestly, it's poetic. I'll only send you the picture because it just looks like an absolute loon, and it's just fantastic. But it's just, when his little smiley face crops up with his mohawk, you just think, oh my god. But it's of all the people you least expect to do that, Paul's one of them. You think, fair play, because it's awful.
I haven't seen that yet.
You need to see it. It's great.
Look forward to that then. Last thing that made me laugh, shameless plug, was the last couple of Andy's Man Club podcasts that we've done that are now available on all of our social media outlets.
Oh, great plug.
And even on Spotify. So, get out there, get them listened to. Oh, wow, look at that.
That is brilliant.
Like, smiling. That's
brilliant.
That's class.
Yeah.
So thank you for this evening, gents, and obviously look forward to seeing you really soon when we can get back out and about and getting down to Devon to maybe come and have a look at another club down there, and obviously come and visit some of the ones that are already working down there as well. See some of the great work that's going on down there, fellas. So thank you for this evening.
Yeah, cracking.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Andy. Cheers, Luke.
Cheers,
You always
guys.
check out Andy.
Thanks, fellas. You know what we do? We always sign out with, it's okay to talk.
It's okay to talk.
It's okay to talk.
And Chris?
It's okay to talk.
Back feelings are back, assaulting your heart with a panic attack. There ain't no shame in feeling depressed. You need to sit down and talk, son, get it off your chest. It's just another bad day, dark feelings are back, assaulting your heart with a panic attack. There ain't no shame in feeling depressed. You need to sit down and talk, son, get it off your chest.